Do you find it tricky to express your true feelings about a new project, a movie, or weekend plans without offending anyone? In this episode, you'll master natural English expressions to confidently share your opinions, agree enthusiastically, or politely disagree. Stay tuned to discover how to use phrases like test the waters, or explain when something wasn't your cup of tea, like a native speaker. In the following practice samples, pay close attention to how native speakers naturally express their thoughts and feelings about different situations.
Notice the specific words and common phrases they use to share their views. Let's jump into the practice samples.
Hey Mark, what do you think about Sarah's new project idea? I'm not entirely convinced it will work out.
I see your point. Personally, I think it has potential, but we'd need to really flesh out the details. From my perspective, the budget might be an issue.
That's a fair assessment. My main concern is that we don't have enough resources to pull it off. I truly believe we should stick with what we know for now.
I understand where you're coming from. Perhaps we could give it a try on a smaller scale, just to test the waters. What's your take on that?
That's an interesting idea. I suppose we could look into it further. So, what did you make of that movie? To be honest with you, I found it pretty boring.
Oh, really? I actually thought it was quite good. If you ask me, the acting was superb.
I guess we have different tastes. For me, the plot just didn't hold my attention. I'd even go as far as saying it was a waste of time.
I can see why you'd say that, but I'd argue the ending made up for the slow start. What was your favorite part, if any?
Honestly, there wasn't a favorite part for me. It simply wasn't my cup of tea. I was thinking of going camping this weekend, but David said it might rain. What's your opinion on that?
Well, in my opinion, it's always better to check the forecast. I'm inclined to agree with David about the rain. It looks like it could really come down.
You've got a point. I was really looking forward to getting out of the city, though. Do you have any suggestions instead?
How about we head to that new museum downtown? I feel like that would be a safe bet, and it could be a lot of fun. What do you say?
That sounds like a great idea. I'm totally on board with that. All right, let's break down some of those useful expressions from our samples. In the first one, we heard, I'm not entirely convinced it will work out, and my main concern is. These are great ways to express doubt or a reservation.
Exactly, and for giving your personal view, phrases like personally, I think, or from my perspective are really common. When you want to suggest something cautiously, test the waters is a natural phrasal verb to use.
Right. We also had I truly believe for a stronger statement of conviction, and I understand where you're coming from to show empathy even if you don't fully agree. And what's your take on that? Is a perfect, informal way to ask for someone's opinion.
Moving to the movie discussion, what did you make of that movie? Is a fantastic, casual way to ask for an opinion on something you've experienced together. And to be honest with you, sets up a direct, frank opinion.
Yes, and if you ask me, is another common way to offer your personal view. When you strongly dislike something, it simply wasn't my cup of tea is a very natural and polite expression. It's often used when talking about preferences.
Absolutely, and if you're really pushing your opinion, I'd even go as far as saying helps emphasize it. When you acknowledge someone's point before stating yours, I can see why you'd say that, but I'd argue, is a great structure.
In our third sample, what's your opinion on that? Is straightforward. And in my opinion, or I feel like, are classic ways to start sharing your thoughts. I'm inclined to agree shows you're leaning towards someone else's view.
And "you've got a point" is a simple, common phrase for agreeing with a valid argument. When you suggest something you think is reliable, calling it a safe bet is very practical. Finally, "I'm totally on board with that" shows strong agreement with a plan or idea.
Moving on to a deeper dive, let's revisit some of the core ideas from our practice conversations. When you need to express uncertainty or doubt about something, beyond "I'm not entirely convinced," you could also phrase it as "I have some reservations about this," or "I'm feeling a bit unsure."
Exactly, and for clearly stating your own viewpoint, rather than just "from my perspective," try "the way I see things" or "my personal take is." These options offer slightly different feels while conveying the same message.
That's right. When suggesting a careful approach, like when we heard "test the waters," you might also say "let's dip our toes in first," or "we should try it out on a small scale." It's about easing into something new.
And when you really want to emphasize what you believe, instead of "I truly believe," you can use "I'm absolutely convinced that," or "I firmly hold the view." These phrases strengthen your conviction even more.
Now, let's explore how some of these expressions fit into everyday life beyond our samples. Take "from my perspective." You might use it at work saying, "From my perspective, the new software update will actually slow us down."
Or with friends discussing plans. "From my perspective, spending the whole day at the beach sounds perfect right now." It's a polite way to offer your personal preference.
Consider "I'm totally on board with that." If a friend suggests, "let's order pizza tonight," you'd say, "I'm totally on board with that," showing strong enthusiasm. At a project meeting, if a colleague suggests a new deadline, you might say, "I'm totally on board with that revised timeline."
And for "it simply wasn't my cup of tea." Imagine you tried a new restaurant your friend loved. You could say, "the food was interesting, but it simply wasn't my cup of tea." Or after seeing a play, "the acting was good, but the story simply wasn't my cup of tea." It's a gentle way to express a lack of personal enjoyment.
Finally, test the waters. If you're thinking of changing careers, you might tell a mentor, "I want to test the waters by taking an evening class in coding first." Or if a shop is considering a new product, "let's test the waters with a small batch to see customer reaction."
Let's touch on how to adjust your tone. Some phrases convey more directness, while others add a layer of politeness or consideration. For instance, asking "what's your take on that?" is quite relaxed and common among friends or close colleagues.
Right. If you need to be a bit more measured or respectful in a different setting, you could choose "what's your opinion on the matter?" or "how do you feel about this situation?" These sound a little more thoughtful and less casual.
Similarly, just saying "I think that" is direct. To soften it and sound more polite, you might add a phrase like "I tend to think that," or "it seems to me that." These make your statement feel less assertive and more open to discussion.
Yes, even acknowledging the other person's view, like "I understand where you're coming from," shows respect before you offer a different viewpoint. It builds rapport even if you disagree. Okay, let's put it all together with some rapid-fire scenarios. Imagine a friend proposes an intense weekend hike that you're not quite up for. How do you express your slight reluctance politely?
I would respond, "I have some reservations about that plan," or perhaps, "I'm feeling a bit unsure about such a strenuous activity."
Excellent. Next, you're in a team meeting and someone asks for your opinion on a complex new project strategy. How do you share your viewpoint clearly but open-mindedly?
I'd offer, "the way I see things, this could work, but we need more data." Or, "my personal take is that we need to address the initial hurdles."
Perfect. And for our last quick challenge, Your colleague suggests a unique approach to a problem and you wholeheartedly agree with it. How do you convey strong support?
Simple, I'd say, I'm totally on board with that idea, or I'm absolutely convinced that's the best path forward.
Fantastic responses. Now, let's quickly recap some key takeaways from our discussion for anyone looking to boost their English communication.
First, when expressing doubt, consider I have some reservations about this to sound thoughtful and diplomatic.
Second, to present your viewpoint. The way I see things, or my personal take, adds a friendly, clear touch to your statements.
And remember, for enthusiastic agreement, I'm totally on board with that, is a strong, natural choice.
That brings us to the end of another engaging episode. We truly hope these expressions help you navigate conversations more confidently.
Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to the Double Your Vocabulary podcast wherever you find your favorite shows.
And hit that notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming lessons designed to empower your English skills.